district attorneys do, some are actually done ahead of the prosecution. They are done during the investigations. So it's not always the case that they file charges before they do them. And in the US, they say that when prosecutors provide, they do general information about the charges, the legal basis, and the procedural steps to maintain public confidence in the justice system.
You know, I mean, this whole thing, or this case, falls under the broader umbrella of oral. And oral, as you may know, I wouldn't call it political. I'll say public interest. Yeah, it's more public interest than political.
Subject to law and all the legal issues and because, ethical considerations.
We can't take, the president cannot sit in the Jubilee House and say, I'm taking A to jail because he or she has done X wrong. So that depoliticizes the aspect of oral. And given this, I mean, where it was birthed, it was a manifesto promise. We went to Winneba, we spoke to the whole world that this is what we're going to do as a political party if we were given the mandate as a government, which, alhamdulillah, we are in government. We are trying to ensure that the right thing is done. So having this case under oral, which is a public interest case, it is only right for an attorney general to update the public. Look, just test the pulse of the public with how eager they want to have updates, even on oral. Apart from the transparency dimension of it and the public interest of it, it's more heightened than ever before.
What are you going to do if you fail to secure conviction for these people in court?
We haven't gotten there because we say we have an oral.
So you have to be cautious.
Yeah, so part of being cautious is what? Having these process. They're very important. Because, I mean, Ayini, my elder brother, Dr. Dominic Ayini, we know it's an astute lawyer. He understands all of these games, right? He understands who is, alleged to have done something wrong or who is guilty whatsoever before putting it out there. And in all of what he's been doing, he's not accused anyone of any wrongdoing. He's only spelling out and giving a chronology of if...
he doesn't have to accuse anybody.
Yes, so I'm coming to that. Yeah. So you mentioned...
if you tell me that somebody 8 point something million got, sent to him through Eastwich, and then you did a search in his home, and you found the Eastwich, the card under his bed.
Well, you are speaking.
Do I need you to tell me that you are accusing the person of anything?
Yeah, but it takes such press conferences for you to have a full appreciation of what you are telling us now in studio.
Okay.
So thanks
that was not him. That was from the AG.
No, but yeah, that's from the AG. And that's a press conference. So that's saying that it took that press conference for him to have full appreciation of what he's sharing with us in studio, right? And that is part of the transparency process and also the roadmap leading to oral and also having justice being done. Samson, language is very chaotic, right? Especially so when it becomes a matter of public interest. If we take ourselves back to maybe probably criminal history, you would realize that there was this famous case of Derek Bentley. It was on joint enterprise, right, where Derek and his accomplice, Chris, went about trying to have a burglary issue. And in the act of it, Derek was deemed as 19 years old but had the brain of a 10-year-old. And in the process of it, a police officer emerged and asked for the gun. And what he said was, what Bentley told Chris was that, Chris, give it to him. Chris, give it to him. The interpretation of give it to him was to shoot him. In other words, it could be interpreted as give him the gun. Now, you realize that this guy went to jail and he was deemed as wrong. He actually was hanged at the time because in Britain, there was death by hanging. Right, the conviction was quashed after a very long time, a 40-year campaign. Why am I boring you with all of this? Is the chaotic nature of language. And that led to a 40-year campaign. Right, to at the end of the day, we had it being expunged from the common law in Britain, among other issues. So if an attorney general, for that matter, is seen as coming to the forefront, right, using a platform to actually spell out these issues to say, okay, X, Y, Z had happened in this particular case. I mean, the fact that he said, I'm going to court next week or next month, and he's unable to go to court, does not mean he's done something wrong.
And he should be explaining that.
No, you can ask for an explanation, and I'm sure he has a tangible explanation to that. Right?
But
because if he didn't...
We shouldn't even wait. You see, so... Hold on. When you make such promises to us, and genuinely they are constraints, it is just fair that in your next briefing, you let us...
I'm sure he's going to come to all of that. Right?
I had opportunity to do so yesterday. He didn't.
I'm sure he's come. Yesterday was dedicated to a big scandal, responding to the Fourth Estate's investigations, which was very important. Sometimes, in matters of law, of public interest, you don't need a dilution.
I tell you that I'm filing charges against in the NSS matter.
Yes.
I come to talk about the NSS matter. I don't tell you why I have not filed the charges.
No, well, I mean, new evidence could have emerged. There could be some technical delays. There could be procedural errors.
So just give us a one-liner.
So now, if he comes
work is still in progress.
Well, I mean,
because of one or two developments,
look, you see,
it hasn't happened, but it's going to happen.
The office of the AG.
So you proceed to your substantive
the office of the AG
commentary.
Institution. Right? This is fair commentary you are making. And Dr. Ayine, I know, would come out to, give clarity to this. So
he's my professor. So this is nothing, personal.
We are not saying this. All of us.
But why are you guys now running away?
No. We are not running away. I said this was an improvement over the first.
Some actually have the theory
that
if he does all of these things and then comes public, he in that situation he ends up holding himself accountable.
Yes.
So if he says, I'm going to put something on trial because he's done ABC, he will not be able to change that position later. Or that it shuts the door for something to go behind the scenes, and try and beg out of the place. So once he does that, everybody is...
Look, he's a public lawyer.
Okay.
He has his legal strategy. These process might be part of his legal strategy, which is not wrong. It's a wrong in law, right? Maybe part of his legal strategy. And as Sule rightly said, there are some names he was expecting or they were expecting. So this transparent process of him giving these updates. I mean, you and I sitting here had some people who worked at the NSS that we expected, maybe by virtue of XYZ, they should have been part of the list. Why are they not part of the list? Then people like Sule go back to do their investigations.
Okay.
So for me, I see it as more of a very tangible, and we need to encourage more of it as far as transparency and public discourses and public interest cases is concerned. Right? More so to do with oral, where there is heightened public interest. So for me, I really see nothing wrong with it. Whether it's even done in the US, it's done in Ireland, wherever. What he's doing is a novelty that ought to be applauded.
The public actually says the government is slow in prosecuting the oral cases.
That. So if he's coming out to really say this, but we know the wheel of justice, as they always say, you lawyers
grind slowly.
Right, but we ought not to send innocent people to jail, which is why I gave the example of Derek Bentley, among other issues, to actually buttress my point that we are doing this within the confines of the law, and we're having a full appreciation of what is happening. I know Honorable is
propaganda that is leading
eager to get on a political tangent with all of these.
It's pure propaganda.
It's not propaganda. And as in general, the Minister of Justice is doing his work, and you're referring to it as propaganda.
I've told you here.
Let's not downplay.
Attention from the NSS.
Samson, let me let's not downplay a very important national exercise in the name of politics by limiting it to propaganda. This is an AG clout with the powers of the Constitution to do what
he told us he's filing charges first.
And that is what he's doing. There's no politics. It is public interest.
Thank you.
But just
and comes back to tell us he's filing charges in July.
30 seconds.